rising visionary. Thank you so much.
Hello.
No.
I'm trying to share this to groups, so I'm looking really antisocial. Hello. Thank you for coming on and chatting with me, for having me. This is my first ever public live stream.
I know. It's a big day for you. You've always been live streams away in your groups. For those of you that don't know, I'm Sally Claridge, and this is the beautiful Beth Young of Wildness Rising. And we have been soul sisters, co-collaborators, co-creators for many, many years.
Wow. Yes.
We have. I was actually trying to work it out, and it's well over 10 years now we've been on this journey together.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I was just remembering one of our first chats on Skype when I was living in Ireland in Kinvara, and I was 33 many hundreds of years ago, as it now feels.
Don't talk about this.
Last week when we had our first chat. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's what an incredibly rich decade it has been.
Yeah, Joe and I. Sure. Yeah, sorry, I'm just checking that we are live. So we are. This is the first time that we've used this tech, and we are live, and we have got 5 people watching, and we have got 2 comments already.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm sorry I'm a bit slow here because I would like to share. I'm going to be sharing this over in my little Wildness Rising group. So I'm just going to share this over now.
Fabulous. And
while we're here, and I can see some lovely people there. Aileen.
Teresa, hello. I now can't get back onto my page. This is hilarious. I can't get off my page on my phone now.
And Teresa's there as well. Hello, Teresa. Yes, how are you doing?
Yeah. And Teresa's down in New Zealand. Hi, wow. Karen. Hello, lovely. So, have you finished your sharing, Jo?
I have. I'm present and correct.
Okay. Excellent. Let me sort this out, and I will hand over to you for a little introduction to all your awesomeness and amazingness.
Right. Wow. Well, no hard lead in there at all. So, for those of you that have not met me before, in this guise anyway, I'm Beth Young. I work mainly as a musician, but for over probably coming up to 13 years now, I've been working as a sound and energy therapist. I've been working as a non-duality coach, and my main mission has been to rewild women from the inside. So I started a business called Wildness Rising, and the purpose of this was really from my own experiences of learning how to liberate myself and what it meant to be a woman in this day and age from my own experiences. And I was bringing this into the energy work that I was doing as a bioenergy therapist. I've had a lifelong love of folklore and mythology and fairy tales, and I really went down this whole loophole of studying symbology, religious iconography. I mean, it's kind of, I went on probably a 20-year seeking path, really, studying all sorts of parts of the folklore that very much went around the goddess culture, the divine feminine culture. But I always hit up against it being quite strict and quite stuck in a way, which seems the opposite of what being free and wild should be about. So as I was doing my bioenergy work, and particularly with a lot of women, I work with men as well, but I was having a lot more, female clients, and going through female gynecological issues or other immune system issues that would come up. A lot of this story work would really profoundly create shifts as well as the energy work. So as I developed this, I also studied with an amazing woman who taught me some incredible divine feminine stories. I started then teaching these on retreats, and me and Sally joined forces, and we did our first ever women's retreat in a beautiful place in I was going to say Glastonbury, that wasn't that one, in a beautiful place down in Sussex in a chapel. And it really was an amazing experience, wasn't it? Our first time to bring together the forces of the wildness work, which is sort of sacred story, it's energy work, it's storytelling, but it's not storytelling in Jack and Ori listening to a story. The stories are infused with energy. They've been passed down traditionally for well over 1,000 years, and there's something about hearing that story and hearing some of these stories that it just wakes part of you up. It reminds you. That's what they're designed to do. They're just there to remind you who you truly are, and they're ageless, because we're ageless no matter what era we happen to be living in. And they're really powerful to combine with what Sally does. We found that when we put the two together, when we put the channeling love work together with it, it was just such a combination, because of course Sally's work, it's all about bringing you home and being completely in that present moment and that true position and true nature. So I call our true nature our wild nature, because it's untamable and it's undomesticated, and it doesn't need anything adding to it. You don't need to add anything to the wild. The wild is as it is, and that's what Sally is so potently powerful at bringing people into, with the energy of channeling love and with all the gifts that she brings through. So that's kind of where I started and where we started working together with retreats. But we'd been starting to work together before that as well, haven't we?
We did, yeah. We started, it was actually when I was still living in Brazil. I lived in Rio de Janeiro for 8 years. And we actually met when I was in Ireland, and I was traveling with the visionary Chris Stormer Fryer for her reflexology workshops. And we ended up at the dinner table together, and we just discovered we had so many things in common, like Scottish ancestry. Who would have thought our ancestors were from the same area in the Borders in Scotland?
They're buried next to each other.
I know.
In Caldium. It's so bizarre. It's like, that is really crazy to me. But
So and things just grew from there. And while I was in Brazil and Joe was in Ireland, we came together as Angel Rock Press, because Joe is also an incredible soul artist, and we created greetings cards with her mythological and soul infused paintings and artwork with words from the star beings. And that was our first venture together. And the amazing thing was that we did it all distantly and came together in Edinburgh for the launch, not having even got together in person to talk about things or for the production process. So from the very beginning with Joe, there's been this incredible connection that goes beyond the logical. It goes sometimes down into the madness sisterhood route, but that's half the fun of it.
And completely the fun of it. That's all the fun of it.
And we have this connection, and we just always seem to be on the same path, on the same track, thinking the same things, and intuitively feeling the same as well. And this seems to be in our professional life and in our personal lives as well. So it's a really strong connection. And from creating these cards, we then went on to bring out the Illumination Oracle deck. Again, using Joe's incredible artwork. I can't believe I didn't think to bring the cards here.
I've got them.
You've got them? Yeah, get them, yeah.
Look, you're now going to see my kitchen and dryer in the background. I was trying to block it. It's just not working.
I got you. So, we
these are our cards.
The Illumination Oracle deck. And again, it's a fusion of Joe's incredible artwork and the words and the channelings from the star beings as an added energetic experience to pulling the cards. And the cards are all about completely being present and reminding you of who you are and where you're at emotionally and spiritually. They're not future predictive of, no, your friend's going to propose next week and you need to leave your job. It's so not that
the winning lottery numbers are not in here. It's not about. It's really interesting because that was our actual that was our real ethos for creating these cards together, wasn't it? Is that you know, we both had worked with lots of cards over the years, and the frustrating thing was there's this kind of old archetypal idea of cards and tarot, and you know, which is very powerful and, you know, has a lot of validity, but they were very much about, you know, trying to see the future. And I was just finding in my own work that when people were too stuck on trying to see into the future, they were really missing their lives. Like their lives are happening, all our lives are only ever happening now. And so we just wanted to create something that, instead of pushing you into what's going to happen, just kept bringing you back into what's happening right now.
Yeah.
They're all pointers, and they still use the pictures in here, and the messages that Sally brought through are really, really archetypal messages. Like they do, some of the cards in here do represent cards in the tarot. So you have like a tower card, but it's not the tower, it's calming chaos. You know, we just created a different way of presenting those archetypes that would stop us wandering, you know, away to the future or back to the past. So, and it's amazing actually, because we created them really instinctually, didn't we? Just sort of chatting to each other. And the magic of creating the oracle deck was that I was writing a little description and a title, but I wouldn't tell Sally anything.
She just,
do you remember?
You just sent me these beautiful pictures and said, right, there you go.
You get on with it over there.
You get on with it and just send them back when they're done. And I went into I didn't do them all at once. I just waited. It was really important for me to wait for the energy to be there and the flow to be there. And then when that energy came through, when the star beings came through and the messages came through, it was so powerful. So I would do like a few at a time, as and when, and then send them off to Joe. And then Joe would send me these messages back going, ha, 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 laughing icons. And she said, you're going to love it when I show you what I sort of thought the title would be for the card.
Oh my God, they just matched every time.
Crazy.
We both write a little, you know, Sally would bring through the real, you know, activating channel message, and I would just put this little sort of practical description, if you like, and a title, and it matched every time. It was just magic, really. And so we created them like that. But I have to say, now all these years later, we both work with these cards a lot in our own work, and it's only now I'm really understanding what they are. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, you make something and you're kind of like, what is this? I don't know what we did, but I knew it was really cool and that it was incredibly useful and powerful. But now, having worked with them for so long, I'm like, wow, now I really am starting to understand them more. It's amazing. And in fact, this brings us very nicely into what being a visionary is. You know, you can create things that you don't intellectually understand in the moment. You don't have to fully get the whole picture if you just allow the freedom of what's coming through to come through. And it may be sometimes years later you understand what you did. I know with my music I feel the same. I don't understand sometimes for a very long time what I actually did. And that's opening up to the flow without needing to control things and know everything as it's happening in the moment.
So tell everyone, or share with us all, what does Rising Visionary mean for you?
So I think the first question to ask is, what is a visionary, first of all? Because, you know, when we think of the word visionary, when people are called a visionary, it's oftentimes, you know, someone that has seen something or created or understood something ahead of time, but also someone that's had a really, really expansive idea. And I think I'm a big one for pulling apart words and seeing what's inside the word itself. And to me, like, I work with people doing Rising Visionary mentoring. And what often happens in that process is that people come in and they have many ideas. They might be creative ideas, they might be business ideas, they may just be ideas of how they want to live totally differently. But they're oftentimes stuck at this point of not believing that they can do it, or not seeing their own truth, definitely, and also understanding their own nature. So trying to make it project the image of what they think a visionary is out there, you know, like a visionary should look or be or act a certain way. But actually a visionary is in the word in vision, you know, in vision. You envision your life. You don't out vision your life. And I often think this is where, you know, people have really struggled with things like the law of attraction and all of that kind of secret stuff and manifestation stuff over the years. Is this idea, you know, if you just imagine it hard enough and you create it and you out, but to me that's out visioning, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally.
It's trying to make it happen out there, and again it's quite masculine. So going back to the wild woman, the wild nature way of doing things, it's pulling energy in, it's not pushing all your energy out. So a visionary is someone that takes the compass from the inside, from their true nature, from a place that isn't so swayed and affected by opinions, by dramas, by different happenings in our lives, because we all know deep down, where, you know, it's not a case of whether we don't know this, it's a case of living it, but we all know deep down there is a part of us that isn't affected by things. There's a part of us that is completely the same. And we know this because we have tragedies in life and we have joys in life and we have, you know, successes and failures and highs and lows. But there's something here that never moves out of that position. And that is where the visionary lives. The visionary lives there in the moment, in the place of oneness. It doesn't live out there. So a rising visionary for me is someone who is feeling that calling to creating from a much deeper place in themselves, that is not happy to just follow the creations that we're sold or told are going to make us happy, but they want to bring forward something of really deep intrinsic value for them from that place of truth. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Beautiful. And for me, the first thing when you sort of asked me and said, how do you feel about rising visionary? The thing that really came up for me was that it's about rising up from within. There's so many women at the moment, and I've been through it too. Really, this has been such an incredible roller coaster of a year where all the old stuff, all the old us, all the old paradigms, all the old patterns, the self-doubt, the self-sabotage, the fear
yes.
of stepping up and of being fully seen, everything has been pulled up. Everything has been pushed up for us to move through this year, because I know that I'm feeling it. I know that you're feeling it, and many women are feeling it, that it's time to step up. And for me, stepping up and rising into your truth isn't about suddenly going onto stage and preaching to hundreds of people or being the old paradigm of the teacher, or
yes,
you know, telling the world that it's going to end, you know, in 10 years time or whatever. It's for me, for me, it really is about becoming who we truly are. So we're rising into our truth, and to rise into our truth, we have to be courageous enough to leave behind the old us. We have to be courageous enough to be able to see who we truly are, beyond our social conditioning, beyond our fears, our beliefs, our old patterns, what we were told we were as a child, and how that ingrained into us, into our everyday life. So for me, rising visionary is about setting ourselves free to be who we truly are, and being able to see beyond who we think we are or who other people think we are. We have the vision of who we are, and we know we are, and we can feel who we are, but actually taking that out into our everyday life and setting ourselves free from the old domesticated feminine, whatchamacallit, what's it called?
The good girl.
The good girl, yes.
The good girl, yes. The domesticated girl, yeah. or man, you know, it's not confined to women, but, you know, it's like this, I love what you said, because you've actually really highlighted something, which is, you know, a lot of what we a lot of what we do is projection. You know, we're all designed to project.
Yes.
You know, we're really fantastically good at it. And that part of the brain has become so well developed that when you talk about rising up, you really highlighted there that people think like, right, if I'm rising, I'm going to now become a best-selling author, or I'm going to go on this, like, it seems to have this massive glamour around it, as if having a beautiful, simple life of integrity and truth is any less visionary and radical than having this sort of glamorous idea of what that is out there. And I think it's about going beyond the projections and understanding that you can project beyond your old story as much as you like, but if you're not coming from the light that is the actual projection machine itself, if you're not actually honing into that place, no matter what you project into the outside world, it won't have any power or strength. And it could even be quite successful on one level, but there's that imposter syndrome that will come in.
Yes.
Because the person that believes they are the projection, I hope this makes sense, the person that is believing themselves to be the projection instead of believing, or not believing, but understanding that they are the power behind the projection. So to be a rising visionary is to go so into that space, like you're saying, which is beyond conditioning. And it's also to meet someone that you've never met before. And what I mean by that is to go, a lot of the reason why we have fear about leaving those things behind and about leaving our projections and what has been projected onto us is that even though it might be stifling and frightening, it's safe because we know it. So I often find the fear is that you don't know who you're going to be because you've never met who you are without these projections. And there's a really beautiful line that my friend Paul once said to me that I've never forgotten. And he said, and I hope this will make sense, but it's quite deep, but it's very much what you're talking about with visionary, what rising up is. And he said, you know, the person that inquires into their true nature is not the person who finds their true nature, but is ended by finding your true nature. So do you see that? Like, that's the person you have to, the person is what you let go of when you become the visionary.
Yes.
Because your life no longer becomes all about you, the person, it becomes about everything. It becomes about something so much bigger. And so it's a much bigger space to live in. And it's a much more expansive space, and that can be very overwhelming. And also people have a lot of questions about it. They have a lot of confusion, like, almost, am I allowed to do that? Because it's certainly not what's advertised to you.
No, it's
socially.
Not. It's freedom as well. It's complete
100%
freedom to be who you truly are. The freedom to speak your truth, the freedom to live your life as you wish, your freedom to laugh at grounding, inappropriate jokes, but also be able to dive deeper and be so connected with the universe and Mother Earth that you're in that incredible alignment, but you're still living that human experience. Yeah. And I think for me, visionary also wakens up in me this desire for the world to change. And it's through the world to heal, I should say. Healing is probably a better word, because the more of us that stand in our truth and rise within ourselves and meet ourselves and live our truth and have the courage to be who we are against probably what society expects or wants of us. This, for me, this is how healing the world happens. It's people standing in our truth and holding our light and owning who we are and not being afraid to be seen as different. And I think the more of us that come into our hearts and stand in our truth, the more the world can heal. And for me, I do have this vision of a happy world and everybody living in peace and oneness, but that has to start within us. It's never going to happen unless it's within us. So I have got that side of the visionary
Oh, 100%.
Well,
It's like, it's all the dots, isn't it? It's all the little dots on the map or the web of light, you know. And it goes back again to that, the projection thing that we're talking about, is that we can't change. I mean, there's so much going on in the world that a lot of people feel very sad about and distressed about, and it's completely natural. And then the sort of human fight or flight response is to try and go and change it out there. You know, if I could go out there and change everything. But again, you're fiddling with the projection and forgetting the power behind the projector. And it's something you were saying there about believing. And we were just chatting about this before, weren't we, about believing. I was laughing because I was taking a word, the part believing, because oftentimes, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot yourself, people will come and say, you know, how do I, you know, I want to believe in myself, or I don't believe in myself, right? And that's part of being a visionary. The idea of a visionary is not doubting oneself. The idea of believing in yourself is also quite funny, because you're not a fictional character, you know, to believe. Well, yes, or yes and no, but you're not. To believe in yourself means there's something about you that's untrue, you'd have to believe in. Do you see what I mean by that? Whereas if you believe in yourself, you are living, you be living in yourself. You know, and that's all that believing in yourself actually is. You're just fully, as you're saying, like, you're grounded in yourself. It's not an airy fairy thing of believing yourself being somewhere up here. And I think a lot of what happens with people really wanting to do good things and wanting to change the world and having very wonderful altruistic intentions is that it can sometimes come across that they have to be very good and very spiritual, and they must not go into those lower, more earthy, grounded echelons of life, and they're in another prison. So it might be a prison of a better making, but it's still a prison of ideas and expectations. And what we're talking about with this work is dropping all of those stories, basically. Every story about what you even think it should look like dissolves. And it comes with this work. And it comes down to us also being completely present with ourselves and with each other. Being completely present, but also very grounded, but not being afraid to dive deeper, but also fly higher. You know, society has this. I think it's quite sad that as soon as somebody, especially in the UK, it does happen in the UK, when somebody starts to rise, there's an awful lot of bashing goes on, and people's opinions of who does she think she is, or it's never going to work, or triggering because it triggers other people, because they, for whatever reason, feel unable to make that leap or to go within to discover themselves. So you've left the tribe, basically. You've left the tribal story, which is, this is how we do things here. And when you rise out of it, that's a really good point. It does trigger people. And yet at the same time, it inspires people, because, as you also so rightly were saying, if you give yourself 100% permission to be yourself, then you give everyone you know permission to be themselves. And that is contagious. I mean, that stuff spreads everywhere.
It's drop in the pond, isn't it? It's drop in the pond.
So is.
The butterfly effect. Jo, I can see on my phone, this is totally live, that we've got some comments, and not having used this tech before, I think there's a way of seeing the comments. So if anybody's got any questions, I just want to make sure that we say hello to the people that are here. So
yes, I'm I'm now trying to look at the comments. I know it's really weird because we're using this, funny enough, we're using a thing called Be Live. Believe. That's why I was joking about it. It was like, it's all about be live, be living in your truth. Be live TV, but we can't see anyone's comments.
Well, let's have a look. I've clicked the button, but I'm not quite sure what happens now. So we'll just
Okay, I might just glance down at my phone every now and then and see if I can see what's going on here. So I'm sorry if you're asking a question and we're not answering.
Yeah,
we will go on and have a look at that in a minute.
We'll get better at this, I promise.
But yeah, but getting back to what you were saying there, like that web of light, as I always think of it, you know, if like nobody, who is the person that you go to when you want to tell them a great idea or you want to tell them something challenging? You go to the person that isn't going to judge you, don't you? You go to the person who makes you feel safe. And part of what this work that we're bringing together is learning to feel, well, not learning, but understanding that you are safe. Remembering that you're safe. And when you remember it, people feel safe around you. They may not know why. They don't. It's not an intellectual thing. That's the other thing with being a visionary or be living in your truth. It's not a mental thing, is it? The ego will try and grab hold of it, but it's an energy. It is the light. It's cleaning the lint off the projector.
And this is you know, part of what the star beings bring through, because when you come in and you experience the presence of being in that vibration, when the star beings come through, their energy is pure love, and it's strong and it's grounding, and you feel so completely held and loved and seen and free that it's impossible not to feel safe. I've never had anybody question, oh, what was that? Who was that? Because the energy is so all encompassing that you just know beyond what your logical mind or your ego might try and bring through. It's pure love, and pure love is grounded truth and freedom. And this is what happens when the star beings come through. Now, Joe and I have been combining this work for a good few years now, and the magic is that Joe has this incredible ability to see you, to see everyone, and to bring this, I don't know what you want to call it, non-duality or the wild awakening.
We've got to call it something, haven't we? That's the really annoying thing. The wild self. I'm going to call it the wild self, the untamable self.
Yes, and he has that ability to help you see yourself and set yourself free. And it's through, a lot of it is through the way that she talks and the words that you bring through, because you just hit home. And combining that with the channeling, which is mainly done in silence, it's energetic work, gives the space for Joe's wisdom and words and the energy behind those words to really become embodied and grounded within the human experience. And the star beings magnify that energetically, and they expand it, and they help clear through blocks, the fears, the self-sabotage of, oh, I don't know if I can, and oh, I'm not sure about this, and but my mum never said I would come to anything, you know, everything.
Right. Yes.
Everything has that chance to be freed from within you so that you can be your true self. So it's like a combination of incredible wisdom and insight and deep knowing being magnified and expanded through the presence of the star beings. And this is where it gets so exciting, because we hand over to the flow.
Yeah. And so I was about to say that, you know, when we started to combine this, when Sally, you know, I've known Sally since the star beings very first started to come through, and as it started, you know, her gifts started to come even stronger and stronger, we just got to a point where we go, should we just not talk anymore?
Yes.
Like, let's just forget talking in retreats, because there is no, when you're sitting in the presence of the energy that Sally brings through, there is nothing that needs saying. You know, it's absolutely beyond words. It is a pure, true experience. It's a vibration that knocks the other vibrations out of the way. That's the best way of putting it. It's like whatever the lower vibrations that you're struggling with, the thought forms, you know, because I often think of an ego. We always have this fight about what the ego is, like it's a guy called Fred or something, you know, like if I could just get rid of my ego. And where is it? You know, I can't find this ego thing that we're fighting with. So I always think the ego is just a set of solidified thought forms. That's kind of the easiest way of seeing it. And when you're in the presence of what the star beings bring through and what you bring through, that those thought forms, they just can't stick. It's almost like they just don't have the Velcro landing pad, you know. It's like they're trying, but you're still observing and witnessing and feeling them. And you know, my job is just to try to point home, to just keep reminding, because I've got, you know, and we talk about this a lot, we've got, you know, nothing to teach. Because it's an unlearning, it's not a learning. It's not about becoming the best projection you can be. You know, because that isn't it.
It's not about, rising visionary is not about us teaching you tools or methods or processes. It really is a remembering, helping you connect energetically and emotionally within our everyday world with the truth of who you are, and having the courage to live in your truth, so that you can find fulfillment, happiness, peace within, like, your relationships or within your work, you know. It just in everyday life, cope with the queues at the supermarkets, or, you know.
It's true, because you're not trying. And actually, I was thinking this morning, you know, I was driving back, and I was thinking about how, you know, what had changed for me in my life, because I've never talked on a public live stream about any of this stuff before. So it was all sort of whizzing through my head, like, what has changed in my life since making that shift, you know, which was brought into my life by a quite vicious series of events. You so don't have to do it that way. That was just my life path. But since that shift happened in my own life, the sense that I need to show up as someone had evaporated, and there was so much anxiety and discomfort, I think, and fear in my life for many, many years, you know, thinking I had to prepare for things. And I was just remembering on the way home this morning when I was driving, like, it was so much hard work to try and be someone. I'm going to this meeting, so I have to try and be this person here. And then I'm going to see my family, so I've got to try and be this person there. And I'm going to see my friend, I've got to try and be that. And it was like running a whole load of identities. And when you're in this position, and don't, you know, it's a work in progress continually. But when you're in that position of understanding that you are not the projection, you are the projector, then you never have to prepare for anything ever again. Because you're always prepared. If you're showing up as truth, as you are, what do you ever need to prepare for? And that's scary as well, because that suddenly opens up everything to you. It's like, what? I don't have to try so hard? Because that's the other thing, isn't it, which we talk about a lot, is how hard we tried, both of us, in the past to do things right. You know?
Oh my goodness, the conversations and the tears that we've shed. It's like, oh my God, I'm so tired of trying. Oh, nothing's working. And oh my God. So
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. But it was the trying, wasn't it? It was, that's the killer. And the trying only comes when there's something ingrained there that thinks that you are not good enough as you are. Like, you've got to be someone else. So this is it. We're not teaching you to be a better version of you.
No, because we're perfect already. I really want, that's something that I really want to underline as well, is that we are all perfect through our imperfections. All we're doing is diving deeper to reconnect and remember with our truth, so that we can bring that into our everyday life.
It's a revealing, a subtraction, not an addition.
Delayering, demystifying. I've managed to access the comments So,
brilliant.
yes. So
yeah, I was trying to do this subtly. It wasn't really working out.
So I'm just going to say hello and read out some of the comments that I've got here. And it's just really lovely to have so many of us join live.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in.
So we've got Teresa, Sarah Griffiths, beautiful wheelie mama over in North.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
Yes, so Sarah's saying, yes, 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 light the fire in those around you to be unapologetically themselves too.
Yes, love it. Beautiful.
Yeah, and Monica Ingamels in New Mexico saying it's scary to live our truth, but even scarier not to. So that
absolutely.
Thank you, Monica.
It's harder not to be you, actually.
It is. It takes
more energy.
Yeah. Anna Grace Taylor sending lots of hearts.
Anna.
Melinda Brewster down in Australia. Melinda is saying the wild self sounds great. Anna,
it's great. It's funny. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly butt in there and say when we started sharing some of this work, me and Sally started sharing this work, when I used the word wild, it used to really trigger people. Do you remember that? We've kind of evolved beyond that now. But people were like, I don't want to be wild. I'll be out of control. I'll be like beating people up and getting drunk every night. And they sort of associated wild with, you know, this really like this dark side, whereas what the wild is the beautiful. And it's wonderful now because I love that you totally vibrate and get with that, because it's a natural state of wildness. You know, it's not frightening, but it can trigger people.
It's the wildness is like the truth and the power of the divine feminine. It's not about dancing naked round fires or
only if you want
rebellious marches or anything like that. So don't worry if you come on that
was it. It was like, I don't want to go on a wild woman retreat and they're going to force us to get naked and paint ourselves gold and drink ayahuasca or something. I was like, no, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's actually wild can be very, very quiet and very calm. That's the other thing. True. It can be very still. Yeah, it's beautiful to explore.
So I just want to say hello also to Jeanette Smith-Wesolowski. She's in Canada. She's saying, hello, beautiful souls. I just heard yesterday the ego is in service to the soul. This resonated deeply and so true once we unlearn patterns that no longer serve us. That's lovely. That is a really lovely
putting it back in the reception and out of the CEO's office.
Yes.
As we call it.
Sarah Griffiths saying, boom, we can't prepare for what we already are. Love it. Anna's saying it's so lovely to hear you both. Melinda saying the real you. So these are really lovely comments. Thank you so much for being.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. It's amazing.
I'll keep an eye on that now that I've mastered it.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I love that. You can't prepare to be yourself. That's a kind of that is also, these things become quite humorous after a while. Like that's the other thing, we do end up having a lot of laughs on our events.
We don't take it all so seriously. The spiritual path for us has held a lot of humor as well and a lot of fun.
Massively.
So sorry.
I was about to say
what I was going to say.
I've been remembering all the things you've been saying, because you said so many cool things that I wanted to answer to. And one thing that you said was about in society, about success and about people, you know, rising up and doing well, how that triggers people. And I remembered this really, it's quite a harsh saying, but it's something that Guy Ritchie once said. Not that he's a guru or anything, but what he said really was quite interesting. And he said the English love an underdog, but as soon as that dog is fit and well, they cut its legs off. Right, which is really harsh saying, but when I read it, I thought, you know, there's a lot of truth to that. We all want to support, you know, people on their way up, but once people get up, there is this tendency to bring them back down into the tribal level. So a lot of awakening, if you like, or finding out who you truly are is a massive act of rebellion, because there's no one more dangerous than a free person, because a free person can't be controlled or manipulated or brought back into the fray. And that's why I believe anyway, it creates a lot of a triggering reaction. And we kind of know that. So I often see a lot of women that, you know, have worked with us on the retreats, and women that have come to me individually, or, you know, they'll get to this ceiling where they know they're about to just go over the precipice into something quite great. And then that's the fear that stops them. This fear that they know it's not, that collectively it might be quite a triggering thing. So we're going through and beyond that by sitting in this space, beyond the fear, into the safety of knowing that there's nowhere you can be that you are not meant to be.
Exactly. So I think we should tell everyone what we're actually going to be sharing and when, because Joe and I, we're going to be doing more of these live streams in the run up to Rising Visionary, which is going to be in Galway in Ireland.
Yes.
On the 1st of March 2020. And it's I'm going to be in Northern Ireland sharing Channeling Love Circles, and everything just came together for us to create and to collaborate and to bring this new work. It's new, but it's not new. So
it's almost like, I was thinking of that today. It's an evolvement.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? I think it's not new. It's just that it's evolved. Our work's evolved. Hopefully we've evolved somehow. And it's like it's all culminating. And also I think, you know, both Sally and I work really instinctively and intuitively, and it's very much what we feel called to doing. It's often, I find we always end up answering a need quite often, don't we, when we're with what we want to bring through. So this just feels absolutely timely. I think, you know, if you're listening to us chatting now and it's resonating with you, you know, this is for you, basically. You know, we're bringing it through because we're here to bring this through and to help. And we're going to be in a really, really lovely place in Galway, in Salt Hill, which is kind of the coastal area of Galway city. And it's a really lovely, lovely space that's been run by some dear friends of mine for many years. And I'm really excited to be bringing this forward in Ireland with you, because we've never done anything in Ireland before, have we?
Have we not? No, we haven't, have we?
No, I always think you have, because
we've done Scotland, England, and Spain, I think. Yes, but never Ireland. So the time is now. And so that's going to be on the 1st of March. It's a full day immersion. So you'll have a whole day with Joe and myself. And a lot of, you know, you're hearing the type of work that's going to be there, but there's also going to be some deep healing with the star beings within the energy, and using the star beings light language as well as activations for connecting even deeper, for that inner awakening. And the rest, both of us have this feeling that there's something still to come through, that we're not terribly sure of what is actually going to happen. But I have a feeling that the channeling is going to evolve. Something else is going to come through from the star beings over the next month or so. And by the time we get to the retreat, it's going to be an experience that everyone can immerse in. But we really are trusting. We're being very open to the flow of how the work comes through, and we're opening it up to all possibilities. So we're not saying at 10 o'clock we're going to sit down and have a meditation, and then at 3 o'clock you're going to be in the vibration of the star beings. It's going to be an immersive day within the flow, within the energy that works for individuals, but also for the group, for the whole collective.
It's really important, isn't it? Because you just, you know, the group is individual. Whoever comes to this, it's a constellation of people that are, you know, you're showing us what's needed. So we're responding to that, and again, not preparing in some deep control the whole day way.
No.
There will be some sound activations as well. You know, there'll definitely be some sound work. I can feel that, but we'll be leaving it into the flow of how the group and day evolves. And I just get a feeling, knowing us anyway, and what happens, things just tend to gradually just go up and up during the day.
They do. Yeah. I'm just going to answer Aileen's question, saying, can she share this live stream? Please do, Aileen, share far and wide. And if anyone else would like to share the live stream, we would be
absolutely go for it. I'll get over my terror of being live.
Yes,
publicly. I've done it. Singing is fine. Talking not so much.
The other thing that I want to mention on a practical level is that Rising Visionary in Ireland is just the beginning. This is going to be almost sort of like an introductory day, because we'll be taking Rising Visionary to Spain as a retreat in the early summer before it gets too hot there. So if you come on the one day, there is going to be that even more an immersive experience, and we'll be taking it out into nature in Spain as well.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yeah. I'm mega excited about that.
Yeah. I thought I'd throw that in there before I forget.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to, so, you know, the day is going to be a transformative, you know, immersive experience. And then we're also going to offer this retreat because we want to spend time with people doing this. You know, it's like a marinating. Sometimes you have to marinate in the energy, you know, and just bits can loosen. Old identities, old stories, you know, habits, even addictive tendencies, they tend to fall away in, you know, when you have the immersion and the space to be still. You know, we're not trying to cram. That's the other thing. It's important not to try and cram loads of things in and overwhelm. It's good to have lots of space to really just be. And you know, we always find that's really, really beautiful.
Powerful. The retreats. The retreats that we've run before together, there's been the structure, but there's also been, like you say, that space, because within the session, whether it's the healing or the channeling or the light language or the words and the wisdom and the storytelling coming through you, Jo, all that needs space to process, not for our mind to catch up, but for our energy to rebalance, recalibrate, and to move through that healing or that release or whatever comes from that session. So that space and beingness is just as important as the actual sort of like work, as you call it.
Oh, 100%, isn't it? And it's so interesting because we, you know, we're in a culture now, we're in a time or an era where we're fed so many things at once. You know, we have information coming at us all the time. And the tendency is to understand the principles of something and go, oh, I've got that now, and I'll move on to the next thing. But we haven't got it at all. Like, we've just intellectually understood it. So this is very much like an embodying experience. So it's immersion, it's being still in it, it's not being distracted, it's being able to let the energy work through you without the mind jumping to the next thing, and slowing things down as well.
Yeah. Because society puts so much pressure on us to do and go. And I know I've found that one of my greatest challenges is actually slowing down and creating that space. And I know we've had many conversations over the phone over the years, and it's a case of like, Sally, just slow down, just stop. I know. Wonderfully.
Both equally guilty at that.
Yes. And it's when we create that space that the magic happens. It's when we get out of our own way, when we stop, when we tell our mind to stop replaying the stories of like, you snooze, you lose. And, you know, lazy bones gets nowhere. You know, that sort of mindset that's drilled into us through society.
Oh, it's so strong. I've shared this with you already, Sally, but I'm going to share this. Like I was brought up in, you know, with a Scots Guard for a dad who was like a workaholic, really drummed into us, you know, you work hard. If you want something, do it properly, you do it yourself, like all those kind of things. And so I totally took that on. And I think I spent a lot of my younger life trying to prove to my dad that I wasn't lazy.
Yes.
Like actually show, look, I'm so not lazy, I can do 800 things at once, you know. And absolutely really had that going on. And then last year I was sitting with him, and he's now 81. He's sort of by proxy become a yogi from walking on the land every day of his life. And you know, he'll say these really beautiful, profound things, but he actually looked at me last year and he said, you know, he said, I can tell you, when you get to my age, you look back, and he said, I do not think I should have worked more. He said, it's not what I think. I think I should have worked less.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's all I think about is, why did I work so much? It didn't do anything. I wished I had worked less. I wish I'd spent more time with the people I love. I wish I'd done more things that I really enjoyed. And it was really like he was saying to me, you've got permission to stop.
Yes.
Stop it, you know. And he really was saying, just stop it, because this is not what you look back on later on and think, oh, I should have worked more, you know. And it was brilliant for me. He helped me, he liberated me from so much at that moment. It's amazing when a parent can actually do that for you. And take one of the hooks out and go, you know. And it's so true, but it's so hardwired. You know, it's achievement, goal, you know, this is how you get there. It's all about hard work. It's all about putting the hours in. It's all about putting the work in. And yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. And it's not, in my experience, and I know you as well, because we talk about this a lot, it's less effective. It's not about working harder and doing more. It's about using your energy efficiently.
Yes.
And that's a totally different thing. And I'm still learning that. I'm still a student of that. But the more I go down that road, the more incredible it is.
Yeah.
The more you learn.
For me, my father was a naval officer, so I was brought up in the same sort of really quite strict and traditional environment. And I found that for me, it's all about being. It's about being present and being really aware and conscious in the moment, and not getting too carried away with what's next week and oh my goodness, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And I am superb at multitasking, but I'm learning to actually just slow the F down and be present and be aware and create that space, because within that space, that is where the shift happens, and the universe can come in, or the star beings can come in, or the words that you've shared actually drop in and take hold. No, take hold's not the right word.
They've got room, haven't they? Because you're not a full cup.
Yeah.
Like when you're so full of everything you're doing, there's no room. And I don't know about you, but like your memory starts to go, you get really tired, you get really forgetful. And then, you know, and then another story comes up about that, you know, that you're getting older, and then, it's like this kind of loop that goes on. But actually, it's just that you're over full of things. And there's something that Byron Katie said once that I absolutely loved, because, you know, that multitasking thing, and I would do the same. I still do this now sometimes. I'll go, oh my God, the next 3 weeks, you know, I've got to do this. And, you know, I run sort of album and tour schedules the last 2 years, which are just crazy. And, you know, you look and there's sort of 4 months of work ahead of you and you can't see an opening. And Byron Katie said this thing where she said, you know, that you're only ever doing one thing. You know, you're having this panic attack going, I've got all these things to do, but you're never doing them all. You're only doing one thing. You're only doing this. That's it. And as soon as you break it down to that, the stress it's like someone just pulls the plug out, isn't it? It's like, it literally is one moment at a time and never leaving. You've never left that moment anyway. You just think you have, but you never have.
And it's also being in the moment and ready for that shift to happen, because if our mindset is in a different place, you know, it doesn't matter what a healer can do for you, or the wise woman can share, or what the star beings can bring. If you're not in that open space and ready and receptive, then nothing is going to shift and change. I just want to say hello to Linda Hughes is watching.
Hey, Linda.
Oh, Linda was she was actually the very first beautiful soul that Joe and I helped when we combined the channeling love energy and the bioenergy healing. She moved through a miraculous physical healing.
It was incredible.
Yeah. So
absolutely just beautiful.
Send love to Linda.
So much love. But Linda was open. I was about to say, actually, funnily, that Linda's popped up now, because it's healing really is just opening everything up to the present moment. That's really how I see bioenergy healing, is that you're just opening the space up. And when everything is in that moment, it will correct itself. Yes. It will put itself back into its natural position, because you've gone back in your natural position. And I think the two really go strongly together. It's an alignment. And if someone is open to going back to their true, to realizing their true position, should I say, not going back to it, because you're never not in it. Yes. But to recognizing it, then everything will follow back, And so Linda was just totally wired in that moment, it was like boom. Yeah. And not over full again, like you're saying. Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know Linda's story, she had 17 neurological symptoms with a very poor prognosis for walking and talking, and she was only in her mid-30s when it happened. And literally after Joe and I had been with her, everything lifted, and she was walking and talking again that same afternoon. So that was a very powerful experience for us all. Joe and I were a bit sort of, wow. We were completely in awe of the shift that Linda was ready to move through. And so Linda is
so beautiful.
Yeah, she's
and Linda's work is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, Linda's she runs the Entrepreneurs Success Hub. She's an incredible business coach for heart-based entrepreneurs, and she's fab in social media. She's a massive following on Mindful Wishes with Linda Hughes.
A rising visionary herself.
She is. Oh my God, yes. So I also just want to say Aileen is 7. She's saying, yes, me too. I have an ongoing battle with myself. So I think that's the letting go and the stopping doing. Jeanette's saying Byron Katie's been coming up a lot for her too. Deirdre O'Donnell is watching. Sasha Sophie Hoyt. Hello Sophie, back in Spain. So yeah. Oh, and Scott's watching. Hello, Scott.
Oh, hey, Scott.
Scott's my other half. I'm actually in Scotland at the moment, even though I live in Spain. I'm just staying with a very beautiful friend of mine. So, hello,
doing the water work.
Yes, he's doing all the work.
It's interesting with the Byron Katie thing. That to just say, I had a really funny journey with Byron Katie that I'll just share really quickly, which is the first time I saw one of her books. I used to go and study music in Galway City, and I used to drive to college every day, and I often would stop and get a coffee at this supermarket that had a bookshop. And there was a really lovely guy there that used to make the coffee every day. And I go in, and I was drawn towards this Byron Katie book, and it was a small one. It's not the one. It's not the work. The one that it's not Loving What Is. It was another one which I've completely forgotten the name of. But anyway, it was like a small purple book. And I'd go in there, and I'd be waiting for my coffee, and I'd be like, oh, I was just outraged. I mean, I felt so angry when I was reading it. I think I was like 27, 28, and I was just like, just so annoyed with it. But every day I'd go and pick it up again, as if I just wanted to be annoyed, And this just went on and on. And one day the barrister said, "Look, why don't you buy that book?"
Really?
Yeah, he said every day you come in, and I was like, "No, I just thought it's terrible. It's just really annoying." And he was like, but you just buy it, like you've pretty much ruined it now anyway. Just like looking at it every day. I was like, no. And it was about a principle, you know, it's like some kind of weird principle. Anyway, my life unfolded within a year during that time. And I actually went through my own healing. I had fibromyalgia, endometriosis, a whole load of other stuff that was very incapacitating. And I was treated with bioenergy, which is how my bioenergy path opened up. And that's another long story. But one day I went to see the amazing woman that was giving me the therapy, called Sarah Jane. And there was Loving What Is, the Byron Katie book. And I pulled it off the shelf, and she walked down the steps and she went, yeah, you're ready for that now. I was like, okay, yeah, you know. And it took me a good year to stop being annoyed at it, because it was absolutely true.
Yes.
What she was saying was absolutely true, and it was triggering me way and beyond, because I really liked my stories, you know. Yeah. I really liked them. I really did not want to give them up. And it was just so triggering. So I always have this great fondness now, because it was, you know, it was brilliant. So anyway, little anecdote there.
Yeah, resisting our own healing.
Yeah.
So okay, we've been going for about an hour now.
We should go.
Yeah. So just a reminder, Joe and I will put it in the comments here, but you'll also see us posting more about the actual Rising Visionary event in Ireland on the 1st of March, and we'll start getting ourselves together for the Spanish retreat as well early in the summer. If you've got any questions at all, anything you want to ask us or share, please just tag us into the comments and we'll come and chat with you, we'll answer you. Because this really isn't about us just sitting here and telling and talking. I really feel that Rising Visionary is a collective rising, awakening, remembering. It's about all of us doing this together. So please reach out and talk to us and chat with us, ask us anything. If there's anything, I'm just trying to think of if there's anything else we should share just quickly before we go. I think we're okay.
I think that's it, really. Just, you know, we'll definitely jump back on. And like Sally's just said, you know, there is power doing this together.
Yeah.
Collectively. You know, when you join energy with people in that intention of going into your true nature and into that space together, it's amazing. And I also know from sitting with Sally's work in groups what an incredible experience that is, you know. It really it is. It's amazing. So, you know, reach out, let us know you're here, and it'd be lovely to see you. Lovely to see you there.
The other live streams that we're going to be sharing, we'll probably share some more experiential stuff, so you can get a real taster of the star beings' energy, the light language, and Joe's work as well. So it's not all going to be just sitting and talking. We're just, we've got our cups of tea here and we're just having a little chat today.
That's right. Breaking me in gently to the
Listen, congratulations, Joe. Congratulations on your first live in public, I should say.
Thank you very much.
You're well done. Okay, everyone, I'm just going to say thank you to Monica, Melinda, Bonnie. Hello, Bonnie's there. Jeanette, everyone who's been watching and who has joined us. And
thank you. And thank you to anyone in the group as well, the Wildness Rising group. I can't see anything that's going on over there, so I'm going to jump on now after this and have a look as well. So thanks, guys.
Fantastic. So thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
Rising Visionary will be back, and in the meantime we're just sending you loads of love. Have an amazing day and just stay in those beautiful hearts of yours and stand in your truth and shine your light. Mwah.
Absolutely. Lots of love, everyone. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.